briefing room there. Looking forward to hearing what he has to say. And also, will there be a back and forth a little bit? Will the press respect the office of the presidency, but also, not only that, respect the fact that the majority of this country voted for President Trump? Also, the fact that he speaks truth and common sense. Now, still, a member of the press has to still ask questions. It's not a bad thing, especially if there's a core promise that we see here in this country. We want to see that core promise that the president has put out there be done for our country. And we've already seen that time and time again already. 42 executive orders. That's 42 promises on the campaign trail that he already has followed through with, including one of them making a national emergency for the southern border. Another one with the drug cartels, naming them a terrorist organization. Disbanding, or not disbanding, but getting away from the World Health Organization. We are getting really cleaned up here. It's kind of like almost like Rocky before he gets ready to fight Ivan Drago or something. He's working out in that cold and that snow, and he's getting ready with the Eye of the Tiger, an American patriot, Sylvester Stallone, getting ready to go out there to take on whoever is coming against him. Obviously, figuratively speaking here in this country, as President Trump simply going through peace through strength. As he mentioned the other day at the Commander-in-Chief ball, he wants to build our military so strong that we wouldn't, quote, have to use it. That's what he said at the Commander-in-Chief ball. So looking forward to hearing more from him today in the press briefing room. Producer, if you could run that by me again. All right, let's do it. Let's go to jackedupfitness.com. You can see it right there, getjackedup.com. All-in-one home gym, and of course, badass, as you see. So this is a great home gym and an awesome sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. This is something that would be perfect if you have the space for it in that basement or the garage to work out and get fit. So that's one of our great sponsors here at the network. And a number of our sponsors, without these great patriotic groups, we would not be able to provide you this live coverage. And we thank them for their great products and to be able to share that with you. So if you'd like to look it up, getjackedup.com. It is 3:40, so about 20 minutes or so from the first press briefing of the 47th Commander-in-Chief of the Trump 2.0 administration. It's happening soon right there at the White House. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt earlier today on a cable network talking about today's presser a little bit. So looking forward to possibly hearing from her at the beginning of the press conference and then seeing President Trump, or who knows, it might be President Trump right to the podium. And then, of course, we'll see if Carolyn Leavitt will be right there with them. But at the end of the day, we're looking forward to hearing directly from the Commander-in-Chief, as he has done so many great things already for our country. It's great to see the majority of the nation out there. Just the other day at the Capital One Arena, where there were more than 20,000 people enjoying the presidential parade and the speech there, and President Trump joined by his family as well. So we also know that President Trump in his speech yesterday saying that there is a revolution of common sense in America, something that I've never heard of before. I've watched a decent amount of political news and cable news and broadcast news over the years, and I've worked in the industry for nearly 20 years now, and never ever heard those words together, a revolution of common sense. That's what I like about what's going on with the country. We have somebody that is a visionary that is all about the positive aspect of things, not a revolution to destroy, but a revolution to bring common sense. Pretty awesome stuff. Also yesterday, President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance were speaking to a number of people, and the governor from Texas, Greg Abbott, was in one of the areas there where they were doing a speech, and President Trump went on talking about building the southern border wall. That is something that he also is doing, where it's promises made, promises kept. He said we're going to build the wall and get it done quickly. Well, the executive order was recently signed, and we actually have some video of different executive orders getting signed yesterday at the Oval Office. There were, again, a total of 42 executive orders signed in a span of, we'll say generally speaking, 24 hours, but in a span of a few hours. A lot of great work done, and the country breathing a nice sigh of relief as we have more and more of the appointments being sworn in. So today, Marco Rubio was sworn in by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance, as Marco is now the Secretary of State of the United States of America. Looking forward to seeing the others sworn in as we get our country back in the right direction. And that's exactly what's happening with the stroke of that pen right there in the Oval Office. That was just yesterday, airing live right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. And speaking of live, we will be going to that press briefing room, and we will see the 47th Commander-in-Chief today. And one of the best parts of President Trump is when he's able to field those questions from the press and go back and forth. And we'll see. I'm curious to see there's a decent amount of fake news in that press briefing room. And how will they, what kind of questions will they ask? Will they be trying to get, gotcha questions? Will be the slanted left-wing questions? Who knows? But we will bring that to you here live on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Now, additionally, for the southern border, it looks like the Customs and Border Protection app that was under the administration of Joe Biden allowed people more easily to access the United States. Well, that app was shut down at about 12:02 yesterday in the afternoon, right after President Trump was either about to get sworn in or right when he got sworn in. So there are people that are self-deporting at the southern border. There are people that are stuck in Mexico trying to get into America, thinking that they can just walk right in to our country, and it's just not allowed. It's against the law. We need to know who is coming into this country, and you got to have borders to have a nation. It's not a free-for-all. We are blessed for some reason. We were born in this country. It's something to be grateful for. And something to also, pray for the people that want freedom in their countries, and hopefully have leaders that are free, thinking leaders, like the Argentinian president Javier Milei, who was at the official Hispanic inaugural ball the other day. He was at the rotunda watching President Trump get sworn in. It's leaders like that, and hopefully one day Jair Bolsonaro can get back in there in Brazil, because that country, with all of those people, they absolutely love Jair Bolsonaro. He is like a Donald Trump to them. They also love Donald Trump, and I don't know. I just always have a feeling for the people of the world, because it's like, hey, I want people to be free too. And I know we here had that fork in the road for our country, and we wanted to have our freedoms, our constitutional rights, but we want that for other people as well. Speaking of
had not seen this in a prior election.
Our 1,500 J6ers, the many nonviolent offenders, that kind of thing, there were 6 commutations, but 1,500 of them were pardoned. Now, the problem is, I'm seeing right now, and this is something that is a very fluid situation, is there seems to be a little bit of a slow roll of that happening, not because of President Trump, but some of the DC jail situation. So I'm not there specifically in Washington right now, so I'm not going to report any further than that. I have seen that in some trusted, conservative media here on the right side of history. But I hope that things will get, rolling there, because we do see some people being set free. There's photos out there, there's videos, but so we're monitoring that as well. All right, let's go to one of our other sponsors as we get ready to go to this press briefing live. It'll start in about 14 or so minutes. MNT Ops, so it's Mountain Ops, MNTOps.com. 15% off different supplements, outdoor performance supplements, and gear as well. So a really cool website, great products there. And you can get 15% off using the RSBN promo code. So it's MTNOps.com, 15% off. Absolutely great website there as well. And I'm going to go to it right now and share with you some of the specifics of the website there, as we know that having American companies and people that love our country just want to get the products to you, the people there. So let's go to MTNOps.com right now. And what I can tell you is it's an outdoor performance outlet, of course, and it was there's all sorts of apparel on here, 30% off site-wide, but if you use the RSBN promo code as well, you'll be able to get a pretty huge discount there, 15% plus. It looks like there is a lot of other discounts as well. So there's supplements, apparel, gear, there's a community tab on there, and then there's a sale page, and you can get a free hat with a purchase of over $60. So mtnops.com, use that promo code RSBN for more information. All right, so we're looking at about 12 minutes from the first press briefing from President Trump to the press there at the White House for the second administration. We do know there's a few headlines we're following, including the fact that President Trump may be going on Air Force One a little bit later in the week out to Los Angeles for the wildfire tour there, and to hopefully get as much aid and need taken care of in that region of our country, as terrible situation there in Southern California. We also know that today's press conference could bring out a lot of news as well, in the sense of the different topics that'll be asked here. We're looking forward to seeing all of those details come out. We do know also President Trump said at yesterday's rally that he will declassify the JFK, RFK, and MLK records. So we'll be monitoring those details when they come to pass. All right, so if you look at a number of the promises made, promises kept, these are facts, right? So President Trump making a promise and then seeing the executive order signed into law. And also, you know, at the end of the day, what we're looking at here is 42 executive orders in less than 24 hours signed. So as you may have seen on our various reporting here at the network, our RSBN live show that we had at 9 a.m. this morning that went to about 12 noon. We'll have that again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Robert McNeely, RSBN host, will be with me here in studio as we monitor the news of the day and have some commentary. It's going to be great to speak with Robert, as well as he was in D.C. for the past 5 days, just get his take on how things were and what it was like to be there for a lot of the coverage. But one of the things we'll be talking about are these executive orders. One of the other executive orders here is that the promise that was made was that President Trump promised to stop all migrant flights used for relocating illegal aliens and shut down all entries through the CBP One app on day one. Promise kept. Yesterday, President Trump shut down the CBP One app. And that, if you're just joining us right now, I was referring to that a little bit earlier. You know, I remember doing coverage last year through New Hampshire and going through Iowa and that kind of thing for all of the primary and the caucus events and the rallies and the speeches. And I was flying through Chicago. I had to make a stop in Chicago, a connecting flight on the way to Des Moines. And I ran into a number of the people that are illegal migrants that were flown in on that specific thing President Trump is talking about. He promised to stop all migrant flights. Well, he just did it yesterday. And it's on my Truth Social if you want to scroll way back a while. But you know, I was respectful. You know, I'm not ICE, right? But I'm a journalist. So I asked them, you know, where'd you fly in from? And the one guy said San Diego. The other guy said San Antonio. One guy was from Congo. One guy was from Venezuela. You know, and I said, well, who do you like better, Biden or Trump? And the one guy from Congo was about to say Trump. The guy from Venezuela said Biden. You know, it's just a mess. You know, we just can't have not knowing who is coming into our country like that. You know, gladly, if there's a way to get into the country and you do it legally, that's awesome. That's part of what we do here in this country. But so that app is now shut down. So those migrant flights are not happening anymore. Again, promises made, promises kept. This is just factual information I'm just sharing with you here. Let's go with, I think it's Tax Network USA, Tax Network USA, 800-357-1415 if you'd like to get any assistance on the maybe your taxes, maybe you have missed some filing over the past couple years, or you have any questions moving forward, you just go to tnusa.com/RSBN. It's always great. I like to call and ask questions, you know, whatever, especially something like this. If you have questions about your taxes, that kind of thing, to be able to pay your back taxes and settle them, I'd rather talk to somebody on the phone than maybe go on the website. But if you want to go on the website, it's right there, tnusa.com/RSBN. Another great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Looking forward to seeing again the Commander-in-Chief at the White House there in the press briefing room. It will be quite interesting to hear the questions from a number of them that President Trump has called over the years the fake news. But, you know, now we're in this thing together. They are in the White House. And I think that, as in the press briefing room, I think that there should be more of a respect and hopefully more questions that are grounded and rooted in truth. Maybe a question like, okay, so there is a national emergency happening on the southern border. What does that look like? You know, sometimes, another thing real quick, and then I'll get back to some things here, but they ask these questions, they're 20 sentences long to let everybody look at how smart they are or whatever, and most of the time it's a ridiculous question that's a left-leaning slant anyway. Sometimes you get the best sound bites and the best interviews when you just ask one question, like a very short question, like, so why did you do that? Not, you know, a 3-minute question. Anyway, we'll see how it goes there in the press briefing room today. Looking forward to seeing that Q&A back and forth as, you know, we have freedom of the press. So it'll be interesting to see the articles that come out of today's press conference. There are some already writing left-wing hit pieces on people like Elon Musk, or I saw one already talking about President Trump's rhetoric more like Hitler or something. This is literally already, the left-wing press is already starting to go there. So we'll see. Today's going to be a very interesting you know, telling of how it's going to be, at least early on in this second administration. So if you joined us earlier today, we interviewed Sheriff Chuck Jenkins out of Maryland. He joined us on the RSBN Live show, and he was talking about how supportive he is of President Trump's plan to clean up the illegal immigrant situation here in our country, that he is fully on board with that. So great to hear that from him. And then also earlier, we heard from the America First Policy Institute Vice President Chair out of Pennsylvania, Carla Sands, a friend of the show at this point, a friend of Right Side Broadcasting Network, and great to see her on there. And Robert McNeely also interviewed her in D.C., and hearing her thoughts about this great win for our country moving forward. Also, we did speak with Robert as well on the phone. It was great to hear him just talk about the fact that we have these executive orders that are happening at historic speed, according to the president. So let's see if we have a live feed there yet inside the press briefing room, as we are about 5 minutes from the start of that press conference. They may start that feed literally maybe 2 minutes or 30 seconds before the press secretary, Karen Leavitt, or the president takes to the podium. So what we're seeing in the control room here at Right Side, I just heard from the producer in the IFB ear system here, that the feed is not up yet. So as soon as that live feed happens, we'll be seeing the press briefing room. So looking forward to seeing that. Let's go to a couple more of the promises made, promises kept situation that we just saw unfold before our eyes yesterday. And some of you that were at the Capital One Arena in D.C. actually saw President Trump sign a number of the executive orders. And then again there, this was live in the Oval Office yesterday, President Trump getting right to work. And it was pretty cool moments there. You know, you'd hear something like, okay, sir, this is an executive order for the national emergency along the southern border. And President Trump would react to it in real time. And he goes, oh, man, that's a big one. And then, boom, sign it right there. So pretty cool to see that kind of inside access. We had that live footage there in the Oval Office. And anytime there are press briefings or press availabilities in the Oval Office or in the press briefing room, we'll have that for you. Even at the Pentagon, if there is maybe there's a speech there or a briefing at the Pentagon, you know, you look at people like the incoming DOD Secretary Pete Hegseth. If he has a press briefing, we'll have the ability to go right there to the Pentagon and have that as well, all live, all real time, right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. I'm going to go to the bottom of the list here. I'm just going to scroll all the way to the bottom of the promises made, promises kept. Before I read you that, I do want to tell you about Brightcore. Brightcore is mybrightcore.com/RSBN. Another awesome sponsor here. Kimchi One is the product that you see on your screen. I interviewed the founder the other day, Kim Bright. That interview is almost a must watch. I think it actually is a must watch because it's not every day that a founder or an owner of a network is so based, so on point with MAGA, on point with MAHA, and Make America Healthy Again, of course, and then having a great product like Kimchi One. So go ahead and go to the website there. It is right there on your screen, mybrightcore.com/RSBN, or you can give them a call, 888-722-0936. Learn more about Brightcore and realizing that this is a great step in a healthy direction with that great product. That's Kimchi One right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's about 2 minutes to 4 o'clock. Looking forward to going right inside to that press briefing room. We'll be going live there inside. We have our feed from the press briefing room, so we'll be seeing the president there today and possibly the press secretary, Carolyn Levitt. And, if it's on time right at 4, great. It may be, 15 minutes later. Regardless, we'll stick with it here. As you guys know, here at the network, all of our hosts at various rallies, some of you probably wonder, how in the world do they talk that long? Well, it's kind of like how President Trump does it. He doesn't use a prompter very much, a teleprompter, and either do we. It's just coming from our heart and our mind. It's just basically saying, we love our country, we love our Constitution, and we're glad to have someone that stands for those things in our nation. And looking forward to this press briefing coming up. Let's go to that promises made, promises kept. All right, so the last one that I see here is President Trump promised to make the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female, on day 1. So he did that yesterday. So the promise kept. Yesterday, President Trump signed the executive order requiring the federal government to recognize the biological reality of 2 sexes, male and female. All right, so then at the end of all of these promises made, promises kept, this is directly from the White House here, this promises made, promises kept list, and it is sent to the press. So at the bottom of it, after 42 of these executive orders, it says, and he's just getting started. So we know that there's more than 200 executive orders to be signed by the Commander-in-Chief. And again, these are all common sense leadership policies, common sense America First policies for our country. And looking forward to seeing that happen here in this nation. We could, at any minute now, it's 4 o'clock, top of the hour. Thanks so much for streaming in live right now on Rumble and on various social platforms out there as we get ready for this first press briefing with President Trump here at any minute now. So as soon as we see a feed there inside the press briefing room, we'll be going there live. And again, President Trump, I'm hearing that he'll be expected to make an announcement about infrastructure, but possibly with artificial intelligence as well. So we'll see what that's about. And then he'll be taking questions from the press. So we'll see all of that right here live on Right Side Broadcasting Network. And if you'd like to follow us on Truth Social, it's at RSBN. Also on X at RSB Network. If you'd like to donate to the network, all you have to do is text RSBN to 801-801. So it's texting RSBN to 801-801. As you see there on your screen, as we continue to expand and cover America First News here at the network, and as we bring you these live events, the live press briefing, just so you're in the know. And being in the know is part of, it's half the battle, to know really what someone is saying in the full context. And then also having some pretty solid commentary, if you ask me, when it comes to our country and what direction we're going in. And obviously we made the right turn into the right side of history. And it makes me think of what Robert McNeely, our host here at the network as well, said the other day, that it's out with the progressive agenda and end with the golden age of America. Christina Loren as well, and Megan Kohler and others, as we look forward to having the narrative be a true narrative. When the word narrative is spoken about, you usually think it's a bad thing only. Well, that's not true. I mean, it could be a true narrative. and based in common sense. So we'll see if that will be happening in this press briefing room today, with the questions being asked from the press to the president here as we await that press briefing. At this point, not seeing the feed yet, but we can continue on with some of the commentary here. Producer, can you say that again? All right, that's all right. All right, so why don't we do this? We have the oath of office just from yesterday that we can kind of relive together, and if we can keep, Director, maybe the White House there on the side, so we can keep that live look, and that is the oath of office yesterday. Why don't we listen into that if we can right now? Okay, all right, so not quite ready for that one right this point, but obviously that was President Trump just yesterday. What a great moment that was when he was sworn in as the 47th Commander-in-Chief. And how about when Carrie Underwood, even though the music might have not been playing, she just rolled with it and sang "God Bless America" a cappella, and everyone joined in, and it was quite the moment there at the White House, or I'm sorry, at the U.S. Capitol building yesterday, as we covered pretty much everything you could think of yesterday, from the inaugural balls to the rally to the signing ceremony of all of those executive orders to the inaugural ceremony. Also the coverage even earlier in the day where President Trump started at St. John's Episcopal Church with at the time the Vice President-elect, this before the swearing in, and the review of the troops that were done as well yesterday. And great to see again the President at the Commander-in-Chief ball last night, paying the respect of our military there, choosing to go to the Commander-in-Chief ball first out of the other inaugural balls to just show his support for our men and women in uniform as we look forward to making our military strong again. Remember those videos that he would play at the rallies? Man, that was quite the video showing the contrast of the woke ideology versus the grit and strength of what it is to be a military service member in this nation. So we know now that we have someone under Pete Hegseth, the Department of Defense incoming secretary, once he is sworn in, similar to Marco Rubio today. If you caught that earlier, he was sworn in by our Vice President as Secretary of State, Marco Rubio was. So a lot of news happening just this on the heels of the inauguration. So we'll be continuing to cover what's going on there in Washington, D.C. And also it'll be great when Robert McNally's here with me in studio and going live. So why don't we do this? Let's go there live right now to the press briefing room in Washington, D.C. I'm Matthew Alvarez.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Will continue today.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
And as
All right, so obviously that was from the oath of office yesterday. We'll be going to that press briefing room. The feed is not available yet, and as soon as it is, we'll be going there live. Let's go with donewithdebt.com, our sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. All you have to do is go to donewithdebt.com, fighting for your financial freedom. Having someone kind of help you out when it comes to those situations with debt, not a bad thing. I mean, there's a lot in life that we have to take care of, right? So it's good to have someone that is a paid professional to help out with something like that. So donewithdebt.com, you see that number on the bottom left of your screen. A great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, fighting for your financial freedom. Live look there at the White House as we await the press briefing to start. We also know from everywhere from Florida to California, there are press conferences happening with local officials. The one that's happening in Florida just recently was with Governor Ron DeSantis talking about the incoming snowstorm. And then out in Los Angeles, there's a press briefing going on right now when it comes to the latest on the LA wildfires. So we're seeing a lot of different things happen right now within the regions of the country, especially, again, if we could take a look at the maybe one of the boxes we can show the snow from Biloxi, Mississippi earlier today. It's happening throughout the south and the southeast. This snowstorm just coming through pretty much out of nowhere. It's not something that the people here in the south are used to seeing, is that right there. Again, that could be Rochester, New York, Buffalo, New York. It could be Green Bay, Philadelphia. But that is Biloxi, Mississippi in the deep south dealing with a snowstorm. Now that was a video feed that we had from about 4 hours ago. So I'm just letting you know that that was about 4 hours ago, but still Houston, Texas getting hit with snow. I mean, it's just pretty wild to see all of that as we await this White House press briefing with President Trump and possibly the press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, there at the White House. You know, yesterday, obviously a great day as we saw in our country the revolution of common sense starting via the speech that President Trump shared with the country and with the world, and also talking about his simple terms of making this about America first. It was great to see that as well as we watched together here in this country, see our country go from a very left-leaning, way left radical way back to the middle and back over to the right when it comes to our nation and our founding when it comes to the Constitution of the United States. So yeah, so we'll go to the press briefing here as soon as we get it. We can go over some of those promises that the team has shared with us, and especially President Trump over the rally. He's spoken about sealing the border and stopping the migrant invasion. He's already started that. So it's kind of checking off each of the promises that he has shared with the country. Carrying out the largest deportation operation in American history, that is already starting to get worked on. Tom Homan, the border czar, working on that. He's looking at ending inflation and making America affordable again. He also signed an executive order along with that. So there are 20 of these promises here, and each of them are really strong pillars for our country. And if all of them are going right, if you know, it's kind of like having a car that isn't doing so well. You need an oil change. You need your tires changed. You need an upgrade here. You need something there just to keep rolling, right? Obviously, our nation was more like a clunkers type of car, you know, not doing so well, not being able to start every day, and it was just really tough. Well, now we've got a new vehicle. Or if we stick to the fact that this is the way our country was, we're getting the repairs in each of them, and these are beautiful repairs to make our country great again. So we are seeing that unfold before our eyes as we look forward to this press briefing there, as it's 4:11. We know the press briefing's slated to start about 11 minutes ago, but we'll see what topics are brought up about from the press there. So we'll see. So also, let's go to angelpace.com, one of our sponsors at the network as well. So angelpace.com. If you use the RSBN promo code, you get 10% off this product. These folks are from Spring, Texas. They hire military veterans. A great company there with a wonderful product. Obviously, Valentine's Day around the corner. So angelpace.com, 10% off using the RSBN promo code. All right, looking at a number of other stories here that we're following at Right Side Broadcasting Network. A radical reverend disrespectfully turns pulpit into a political soapbox during post-inaugural service. That's a beautiful title, and that title is found right here at RSBN Network. So you can see that on Truth Social. I'm looking at that read right now, that post. Isn't that the truth from earlier today? It was really tough to listen to some of the speech there. Instead of reading from the Holy Bible and just simply reading the word, instead it was a political soapbox directed at the president, directed at we the people. And it's unfortunate that people are doing that sort of thing when it comes to saying that they're a person of faith that has an actual relationship with God. And then if they did have an actual relationship with God, they would not be speaking that way. I'll leave it at that. And I talked to a couple pastors earlier. I'm seeing if I can get a pastor on the show tomorrow for RSBN Live to get their reaction on everything. President Trump saying he basically it wasn't that good of a service. He said that with his own words. It was on one of the feeds that we saw here at the network. So we know how he feels about it. We also saw the way he looked over at Vice President J.D. Vance numerous times, almost like, can you believe this? President Trump's not somebody that you preach to unless you're preaching truth. Then he'll be like, yeah, amen, right? All right, so let's move on to some of the other stories we're looking at. The American people have spoken, in quotes, a great quote there, as President Trump takes office with unprecedented support. Other stories we're following here. The border czar Tom Homan has confirmed the illegal immigration crackdown, so we're going to be seeing that here shortly. I also posted on my Truth Social at Matthew Alvarez, if you'd like to follow. Big fan of Truth Social. I also, of course, like X and love our network, but big fan of our network first, of course, but I like having a social media platform like Truth where you can have a conservative voice there and be around like-minded people, mostly on Truth Social. So I posted the Gulf of America. I found a map that it says Gulf of America on there. And it's pretty awesome to see that instead of Gulf of Mexico. It's the Gulf of America, and President Trump renamed it that. He also named it, instead of Denali, it's now back to Mount McKinley. So that happening. Obviously, I spoke about President Trump and his family attending that traditional service at the St. John's Episcopal Church in D.C. yesterday morning. He was starting out his day there in D.C. and then rode the motorcade over to the White House and then to the U.S. Capitol building and then to the Capital One Arena. Quite the day in Washington yesterday. And how different was that? 40 years ago was the last time we saw a commander-in-chief sworn into office there. And that was Ronald Reagan, of course, back in '85 due to the cold weather. So I think it was, excuse me, I think it was pretty awesome to see the rotunda and to see the U.S. Capitol used in that way to swear in a president. And then the presidential parade to happen at the Capital One Arena, it was just pretty nice. Instead of the sub-zero, not sub-zero, but below 32, freezing temperatures with wind chills that were around 11, around 8 degrees, even though the sun was out yesterday, still having the great ceremony. Inside was pretty awesome. President Trump definitely I was happy to have that inside as well. But still, we were able to watch it together as a nation. I know that a number of you that may have traveled to D.C. might not be liking what I just said there because, at the end of the day, I hear you. Traveling that far and wanting to see the president outside and see him outside the Capitol, just like many presidents in the past. But we saw what the weather was like there and President Trump and the team making that decision. So a decision that was received pretty well, considering the circumstances. So other than that, looking at the Senate unanimously confirmed Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State. So we're seeing that Marco Rubio was sworn in earlier today by J.D. Vance. We saw that right here on RSBN Network. So that was great to see. And we'll see more of those type of things happening here at the network as it is now 4:17 Eastern Time. Why don't we real quick go to a commercial break? We're watching Right Side Broadcasting Network. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, it's Sil. from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving us with a ton of extra My Pillows. But you know what? That's their loss. I'm going to make it your gain. For the first time ever, you get standard classic My Pillows for wholesale prices, only $14.88. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, I'm going to offer my entire
Senate,
classic collection
unanimous
at wholesale prices. Upgrade to a queen size My Pillow for just $18.88. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use My Pillows for only $9.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on the screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever on TV, including my standard size My Pillow, only $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. We have limited quantities at this price, so limit's going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network. We are live awaiting the press briefing, the first one of the second Trump administration, in the press briefing room there. Hearing reports that President Trump to announce Project Stargate today. President Trump to announce Project Stargate today. So we'll get more details of what that means, seeing that on various outlets there, including Fox. But at the end of the day, we'll have the entire press briefing brought to you live right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Also, let's go to one of our sponsors, MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com. If you use the RSBN promo code, you can get upwards of about 80% off on a number of products there. Great prices on the right side of your screen there. A great sponsor here at Right Side. And of course, Mike Lindell on the network just the other day as RSBN's Christina Loren interviewed him in Washington, D.C. Always fun to hear Mike Lindell and hear what he's got to say about our country. So again, if you go to mypillow.com/RSBN, you get a nice discount there. I still think it's free shipping at RSBN using that promo code. So pretty good to keep using that until that deal is gone. So again, mypillow.com. It's 4:21 Eastern time, awaiting the press briefing there. Again, President Trump to announce a project called Stargate to be announced there. So if my research is correct on seeing some of the reports as well, this infrastructure AI project, that might be what it's called, Stargate. So we're just going to see right here. We'll confirm it with you on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Also, the speech yesterday, various great parts of the speech that we can possibly go to here as soon as those are ready, talking about America First and talking about all things are possible. Some great moments yesterday as we await this press briefing at 4:21 Eastern time. I do know that a promise that President Trump had was to unleash American energy production in order to bring costs down for American families. Then, of course, promises made, promises kept was the fact that President Trump signed an executive order to unleash American energy in order to bring those costs down for American families. Also, the other one is the promises made here. President Trump promised to withdraw the United States from the disastrous Paris Climate Accord that unfairly ripped off our country. Well, the promise kept today for the second time, or yesterday actually, President Trump has signed that executive order withdrawing the United States from the Paris Agreement. So many executive orders to look through, 42 of them in the past 24 hours. Let's go to a portion of President Trump's speech from just yesterday, but as soon as we see a press briefing live shot, we will be going directly there to the White House.
There's nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken. I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best.
Exactly that. Yesterday, President Trump at the inaugural address there. Meantime, following stories in Florida and also in California and throughout the South when it comes to this snowstorm that has almost wreaked havoc in the sense of the roadways. There are not many snowplows and salt trucks in the South, and now we're dealing with a number of roads that are snow covered, everything from Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and now on the way to Florida. So monitoring that, and then of course the latest out of the Los Angeles wildfires. Throughout the country, I spoke to someone from Prairie du Chien in Wisconsin today, a pastor there, and he said the temperature this morning was -15 in Wisconsin, and then of course snow happening in the South. Quite the wintry day today, but nice and warm in that White House and in that press briefing room as we get ready for that first press conference from President Trump and the team taking on the questions from the press there. Hopefully these are common sense questions and ones that will actually do something good for our country, because we have somebody in office that looks to be doing things that are only good for our country. We saw a lot of great things from the first administration and hope to see a lot more in the second. Let's go to, I believe you said Colonial Metals Group, our producer there. Colonial Metals Group. Yep, there it is. All right, cool. All right, so if you go to that website there, freegoldguide.com, freegoldguide.com for more information on Colonial Metals Group. Always good to have a backup plan for the dollar, and also looking through with protection with the IRA and the 401k and backing it in gold. You can actually get a free info kit by going to freegoldguide.com or use that QR code. I'm also told we'll be doing an interview with someone from the Colonial Metals Group coming up here at Right Side, so it'll be great to kind of learn more about this awesome company. And you can do the same by getting this info kit and understanding that it's 100% tax-free, and it is all about your IRA, your 401k, and using that as a hedge against inflation and also some financial peace of mind using gold as that backup. So again, Colonial Metals Group, freegoldguide.com. Approaching the bottom of the hour here, 4:30. We are all waiting together for this great press briefing that will happen in Washington, D.C., inside the White House today. President Trump, it is pedal to the metal since he took the oath of office yesterday, signing 42 executive orders in just a few hours. Again, some at the Capital One Arena, some at the Oval Office, as you saw live here on Right Side yesterday. So we'll see if he's going to be signing any more today or tomorrow, and we'll be seeing the fruits of that labor. We'll be seeing the cause and effect. So the cause, of course, are the executive orders. What's the effect of what that cause is? So what will we see on the southern border? Well, we've already seen, digitally speaking, the Customs and Border Protection app, that CBP One app shut down, stopping the migrant invasion when it comes to even coming through flights that were happening for a while there. Very interesting. Why would the left want to just increase and an influx of people from other countries, millions and millions of them, and then unfortunately, not more than unfortunately, the fact that the amount of drugs that have come through, the crime that has happened to countless people in this country. So President Trump obviously means business. So does Tom Homan. So does Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth and on. So looking forward to seeing all of this get cleaned up in our country. And again, legal immigration is a great thing. Legal immigration is a great thing. So looking forward to seeing our country get turned around there. And producer, if you can repeat that again, as we await the president there. And let's go to our first, let's go to our sponsor there right now as we get ready for this press briefing in Washington, D.C. And I unfortunately couldn't hear you, producer. There you go. All right, so getjackedup.com, badass all-in-one home gym. Definitely could use one of those at my house, to be honest with you, and to change my diet a little bit too. But definitely a great product there, a huge product, but at the end of the day, efficient in the sense of the size right there. Definitely could get a good workout in with that. Go to getjackedup.com, a great sponsor here at the network. Also, if you go to the QR code or go to the website, you'll see all the pricing on it and all of the products that getjackedup.com has. So again, another sponsor here at Right Side, a great sponsor. As we know, the people that run all of these organizations and companies are America first, love our country, and it's great to have patriotic companies to buy their products, you know, the ones that are made in the United States, and also not being bought and paid for here at the network. We know that we are not bought and paid for by anybody, and it's great to have that freedom of speech and that freedom of the press to cover this administration, but also America First News as we see it come to pass. Speaking of some news, we do have our various crews that were in D.C. and trying to fly home in various parts of the country today, hoping that that all goes nice and smooth when it comes to no cancellations or delays, because a number of the cities in the south here, in the towns and airports, there's a lot of snow falling. If we can take a look once again at Biloxi, Mississippi, for those of you just joining us, you know, just that fact of the snow being in the south, and it's not a trace, it's not just a covering, it's several inches that is falling right there. That's Biloxi, Mississippi from WOLX, I believe, the affiliate there in Biloxi. And this is the same scene throughout various states in the south right now. After speaking to someone from Wisconsin earlier today who said it was -15 earlier, saying, yeah, we heard down in Alabama and other states that it's snowing. Pretty wild to see. I remember driving on the way to the studio and seeing people at the red light taking out their phones and taking photos of and videos of the flurries coming down. It's something you will never see in Buffalo or Philly or Boston, but something you see in the South. All good. Quite interesting to see it here in the southern, southeast United States. Not many salt trucks, not many plows either. But anyway, back to the story at hand right now as we get ready for this press briefing. Curious to see how long this press briefing will last. My guess will be about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. If you think about it, President Trump will announce a infrastructure plan here. That's what we're seeing. And then from there, the Q&A. And there's, you know, press from not only national and local, but international press in that press briefing room. A majority of the press over the years, we know, is fake news. So we'll see if they've learned the lesson of the American people aren't buying it anymore. We're not watching it anymore. We're not reading it anymore. And we're not listening to it anymore because it's a lot of lies. And we want a common sense common sense reporting. We want common sense agenda that will help our nation. So I'll be curious to see how this goes there in Washington, D.C. For those of you that are just joining us, it's 4:32, about to go to Washington. I know a number of you have been watching and maybe are saying, well, you've said that a few times. Well, we're getting ready. We'll be going there to D.C. as soon as we can. And again, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll have RSBN Live, so we'll be covering stories that are happening throughout the country, and including definitely a focus on the nation's capital inside the Beltway there at the White House, Pentagon, the Supreme Court, the Secretary of State's office, and elsewhere, as we see these live feeds of various events happening. Specifically earlier today, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, was sworn in by Vice President J.D. Vance. We also had the live feed to the Washington National Cathedral, which was quite the service, and I'll just leave it at that. So we'll be seeing various live reports come in here to the network as conservative media continues to grow, and a number of you are starting to speak to your friends and family and say, hey, you know what? We want people that believe and think like we do and are for this country and for this land and for this soil and for the United States of America and for the Constitution. So, all right, so let's go again now to President Trump. Just yesterday in the Oval Office, we'll be able to listen in here a little bit of his signing ceremony of all of those executive orders. Take a listen.
Sir, this next executive order is about protecting America from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. Again, crisis at the border, but it goes beyond that and it implicates other executive powers as well.
Okay.
President Trump, if cartels are now going to be seen as foreign terror organizations, would you think about ordering U.S. Special Forces into Mexico to take them out?
Could happen. Stranger things have happened.
Mr. President,
And
how will
that
you
was
make
actually
sure that Maduro would accept Venezuelans?
Say it?
How will you make sure that Maduro would accept Venezuelans?
Well, we're going to see Venezuela. We're looking at Venezuela very strongly. It's a country I know very well for a lot of reasons, and it's well, it was a great country 20 years ago, and now it's a mess. Right?
Sir, can we expect ICE raids starting tomorrow in major cities?
What does that mean?
Can we expect ICE raids in major cities tomorrow?
I don't want to say when, but it's going to happen. Has to happen, or we're not going to have a country left.
This is actually an executive order designating the cartels and other organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations.
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years. So they are now designated as terrorist organizations, foreign. And Mexico probably doesn't want that. But we have to do what's right. They're killing our people. They're killing 250, 300,000 American people a year. Not 100, like has been reported for 15 years. It's probably 300,000.
This is an
Sir,
executive.
you said Mexico doesn't want that. How are you going to deal with this?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them.
Sir, this is an executive order entitled Protecting the American People Against Invasion, which again deals with the southern border and the unprecedented admission of illegal aliens across the southern border.
What do you see the biggest national security threat to the U.S., Mr. President? What's going to be your priority on foreign policy?
Say?
What's going to be your priority on foreign policy? What do you see as the biggest
Well,
national
foreign
security
policy is a
threat?
big statement. I mean, my priority on foreign policy is going to be to keep America safe. Very simple. It's a big question, though. That's a very big question.
Who is going to be the first foreign leader that you plan to meet, or who are you going to call tomorrow on your first day?
I've already been meeting people. I've been meeting them. I've been talking to them. I met with.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving us with a ton of extra My Pillows. But you know what? That's their loss. I'm going to make it your gain. For the first time ever, you get standard classic My Pillows for wholesale prices, only $14.88. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, I'm going to offer my entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Upgrade to a queen size My Pillow for just $18.88. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use My Pillows for only $9.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on the screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever on TV, including my standard size My Pillow, only $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. We have limited quantities at this price, so limit's going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network. As we await this press conference, you know, we're hearing a lot of reports about the situation with the J6ers at this point, the 1,500 people set to be immediately released. Well, we received an email here at the network complaining about this process because a number of either the states aren't complying, and we've seen some of those hiccups as well at the DC jail. So that is a story we're following as well. I'll read you the specific email right now that we just received a little bit ago. As a fellow J6er, I'm begging that you shine a spotlight on states not complying with Trump's executive order. That would be my own state of Oklahoma, this person speaking here. There are currently 3 hostages in Grady County right now. They are not getting released. Someone has been waiting to receive them now for nearly 24 hours. This person saying, I read the executive order. It states immediate release. Please help us. So we've interviewed John Strand here at the network a few times. He spent 366 days in jail there. He was a nonviolent offender. And again, President Trump signed an executive order, the commander-in-chief, the leader of the free world. So there should be no one stopping the J6ers from being able to be set free. 1,500 of them, 6 commutations, which means a lesser sentence. But many are nonviolent offenders, and people have their different schools of thought as to the 6 commutations. But at the end of the day, it's a pardon that has been spoken about from President Trump. And I know that he and the team, drafted those executive orders and signed them. But the follow-through, not with them right now, but the follow-through in general of them actually physically getting out of the spot there. Joining us right now is John Strand, right now live on RSBN. So John, we're hearing reports about the J6 situation. John, you're live right now with us. Can you talk to us about the situation there? What are you hearing?
Well, I am hearing reports on X, Twitter, that there have been various levels of resistance to President Trump's complete exoneration of J6 protesters with the sweeping pardons in order for release of every single hostage. So I don't know what part of every single hostage that the BOP didn't but I can tell you from personal experience dealing with the BOP that it is a absolutely abhorrent bureaucratic office that, in my opinion, should be shuttered. And it does not follow its own rules, much less the orders of those above it, clearly. So that's concerning. But I don't really know myself exactly at this moment who is not yet released, who should be, because they should all be released. So we continue to monitor what we can as best as we can on X. And I'm grateful to you guys for keeping an eye and an ear and the attention on this matter.
100%, and that's the thing, the part of the media that we get an opportunity to shed a light on what's going on in the country. And unfortunately, the mainstream media, they always go with that 15 minutes of the flavor of the month story, and then they move on. But we still have a heart here in conservative media for the people of Western North Carolina, for the people of Los Angeles, dealing with the wildfires, East Palestine, Ohio, Maui, Hawaii, and you guys. I mean, John, this has got to be frustrating for you to see this promise made by President Trump. He's keeping his promise by signing the executive order, but you're talking about you said the BOP. Can you explain who they are?
That's the Bureau of Prisons. So that's the federal prison department that is within the DOJ branch. So they do ultimately answer directly to the president. I mean, there's no question that the order has been duly signed and authorized, and every J6 hostage must immediately be released. And resistance to such order is illegal and unethical and should be condemned.
Exactly. So immediately released is on the EO, the executive order, correct?
Yeah, I believe it said today, if I'm not mistaken. Clearly, the intent of it was immediately. The order did come down on January 20th in the evening hours. So it may have been unfortunate that time was limited the night before. But I don't understand why there is any excuse for them not having these people released, by close of business today. That would be completely unacceptable, and just a further disgrace to a clearly corrupted and inept bureaucracy throughout D.C. and the federal system, which we fully intend for President Trump to clean top to bottom.
Exactly. That's called AKA draining the swamp. And if those of you watching right now, of course, this is John Strand. I told you we would roll with it live on TV here. John has been on the network a couple times, working now for the America Frontline Doctors, correct? Is that right, John?
Absolutely. Creative director at America's Frontline Doctors, and also goldcare.com, which is a revolutionary patriot coalition platform connecting you to medical freedom and disconnecting you from the corrupted insurance model of the medical industrial complex.
Exactly. So you're talking about Dr. Simone Gold. You work with her, correct?
Yes. I've been a colleague of Dr. Gold's for 4 years now. In fact, ironically, it was my work alongside of her on January 6, 2021 that ensnared me in the fraudulent government entrapment event of January 6 and has led me down, a crazy path these last 4 years, which thankfully, praise be to God, just culminated yesterday with a absolutely massive exoneration victory, clearing January 6 patriots as innocent protesters that were entrapped by a fraudulent government event. So it's a very exciting moment of victory and exoneration there. We do have great concern for any J6 patriots who continue to be harassed or persecuted by lingering effects of this weaponized government. So we pray and trust that they will be cleared, released, and set back home within the next 24 hours. But we will also keep attention to make sure that happens and demand rectification if there's a further issue.
We're with you, John. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and God bless you guys, and God continue to bless the United States of America.
Amen. So that was John Strand there, joined us a few times. Usually we have them on a split screen box, but when we're rolling with it like this, as we see there, that we're not going, it looks like, into the press briefing room at this point. This will be where the president will be in the White House speaking to the press from that room there. So so we'll see that. We did see a feed hours ago from inside the actual press briefing room where good old KJP and others were there before, but that feed is now this feed. So we're bringing you everything we can get live here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and we'll see President Trump there at that podium speaking about this infrastructure project and also fielding questions from the press. So I don't think that he will be going to the press briefing room. He might. We'll see. We're rolling with it here on the network. This is live in real time right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I know you have grown accustomed to seeing us go live in various parts of the country and walking around various places with the rally coverage. Actually receiving another call right now, and I believe this is also a J6 related phone call. I'm going to take it live on the air right now. Is this, hello, what's your name again, sir? Can you talk to us about the J6 situation? Is everybody getting released, or what's going on there?
Yeah, so we're still fighting to get the people out of the D.C. jail. They have been defiant to the presidential order for pardon to the people related to January 6th.
Okay, so is there a lot of media out there? I mean, is it kind of a whole thing? I mean, or what's going on?
It's a shit show. Yeah, there's a scrum out there.
Okay. All right.
There's got to be 40 independent journalists, or maybe 60, and there's ABC, CBS, NBC. They're all out there. I'm going to be back down there in like 15 minutes.
Okay, if you can text.
I walked away to come up here to this restaurant. I've been down there since 10. I haven't had anything to eat, nothing to drink, not to the bathroom. I was like, I had to get a food.
All right.
This has kind of been the refuge up here.
I hear you, and it's absolutely freezing there in D.C., of course. Can you text me any updates you get while you're there?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks again for joining us on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yep, definitely. All right, so then they're live in real time phone calls from people that are trying to get what President Trump signed, the EO, the executive order for 1,500 of our citizens who, against their constitutional rights, were held in solitary confinement. The first caller was John Strand. If you want to see his interview, we've interviewed him twice here on the network. One time was The Road to 47, the episodes that were leading up to the great inauguration the other day. If you want to look into some of the episodes there's 7 of them. I believe it was episode maybe 3 or 4, but very well spoken, John Strand, the previous caller. This guy as well, as we are just doing our due diligence as journalists, figuring out what the heck is going on, because these are things that sometimes could fall through the cracks. But I can tell you this, President Trump doesn't allow that to happen. I know that he and the team, maybe in real time right now, hearing some of these calls, will make sure that these states and the county jails and everything will follow suit, and quickly, hoping that this will be a 15-minute story and it goes away tomorrow, because hopefully by today and tomorrow, the people that are supposed to be set free are set free, and we can move on from that. And just quite the story there. One more point about the J6 situation. We know President Trump said peacefully and patriotically. We know what the great journalist Tucker Carlson showed us back when he worked on that other network about all of the tour that some of the law enforcement were giving some of the J6ers in there, and people walking through the Capitol. That is not an insurrection. Facts are facts. And so we saw the Antifa situation. You saw some of the government involved. There's a lot. It's a big story to talk about, but right there you're seeing people are just saying, hey, President Trump signed this. His power with that stroke of the pen for the executive order means business and means something. And so hopefully maybe President Trump will be asked a question about that today when he receives maybe some off-topic questions there at the White House. Usually that's something that a reporter says if the president's going to deliver information about the infrastructure plan that he has today, which is what we're seeing he will be doing. Usually a reporter would say an off-topic question, or they just shift over and start asking various questions. So we'll be seeing that today live. President Trump not hiding from the press. He never did, never will, and always great to see him field questions from sometimes the fake news there. So, all right, so Colonial Metals Group is one of our great sponsors here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. You see that information on your screen there. Buffett's warning, the 2776 warning. You get more information on all of that by going to thefreegoldguide.com/RSBN, and also you can check out the QR code if you'd like. So this is all about your money going into gold, your 401k, your IRA. All of that is 100% tax-free. So you can scan the QR code for that free gold guide, or you can go ahead and go to freegoldguide.com/RSBN, a great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. We started our coverage around 3:30 Eastern as we were bringing you this live event here soon. As we get ready to cover America First News here at the network, and sometimes on the fly just like that, because it's just stories that mean something, stories that matter. And back to that point that I was making about John Strand, he was in solitary confinement for about 4 months. And he was saying that there are statistics out there that after 14 days, it's inhumane treatment and that kind of thing. And he was in there for 4 months. He was able to have the grit to make it through, and more importantly, God to make it through. Those were his words, and I agree. You'd have to have God and grit to make it through something like that. But again, persecuted for their belief in a president who only wants to make the country great again. We saw everything that President Trump went through as well over the past several years, especially last year in Butler and in Florida when he's playing golf. We saw the lawfare, ridiculous, in some ways satanic stuff, coming against truth, coming against freedom. And by the grace of God and by the great people of this country, we made it too big to rig, and this really means something. So we are not just anchor, reporter, hosts here at the network that just do this and read some teleprompter, which is fine to do on occasion. This is really meaningful to us here at the network, because it is all about you and all about us in the sense of we the people together. So this is the common sense reporting that we're talking about when we say we'll be covering America First News here at the network. Looking forward to having Robert McNeely here back in studio tomorrow. You've seen Robert and I and Christina Loren on November 5th, that great coverage here on the network. We had more than 5 million people watch on various platforms. Then over the past 5 or 6 days, I believe that the number is bigger than that, whether it's on Rumble or YouTube, X, Facebook, Getter, on Truth Social, on our website, on our app. And every time we would go to every rally out there before President Trump's speeches throughout the campaign trail, whether that was the primary in New Hampshire, whether that was the caucus in Iowa or the caucus in Nevada, wherever we were, we knew that we were known because the people would say, "We love Right Side." They'd shout to us, "We love Right Side." And we love them. We love each other. Hey, it's a love fest. Great. So let's get this country moving, Looking forward to seeing the president again today in the White House there. And I love when he just handles the fake news sometimes. We'll see, if they start to try and to say things against the president there. I don't think they would do that on day one of this press briefing. I would think maybe if they do it, it would be a little bit later. Already some articles out there trying to go super left, which is the false narrative. There's truth versus lies, and we lean on and are on the side of truth. All right, so again, 5 minutes until 5 o'clock, top of the hour. Didn't expect to spend this much time with you, but here we are, holding down the fort as we get ready to go to that White House to see President Trump make an announcement there, and also take some questions from the press. All right, so GetJackedUp.com is one of our sponsors here at the network. You can take a look at the home gym there and take a look at that QR code as well. That home gym, it'd be pretty cool to have something like that, to be honest with you. Get a good workout in, and you can go to GetJackedUp.com for more information on that home gym. A sponsor here at Right Side, a great sponsor as well, patriotic group over there at GetJackedUp.com. All right, so 4 minutes from 5 o'clock. Again, tomorrow at 9 a.m., we will be live right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's RSBN Live, covering various news events and also bringing you live coverage similar to what you're seeing right here inside the White House. That is a live look in there. Specifically which room that is, couldn't tell you. I've been to the White House before, but not that room. I've been to the East Room of the White House when I was an intern at Fox News back in the day in Washington, D.C. in 2005. And saw Tony Blair and George Bush in the East Room deliver a speech. Been to the press briefing room there as well, and I should know every room. I don't know which one that one is. I'm thinking the Roosevelt room. I don't know, but I'm not going to act like I do. I got to get Bobby on the line for that. He's a big history buff too and knows a lot of the specifics with the White House there. But a great look there as we get ready to see the president take to the podium and speak to the American people. I'm curious if this will be just the president there, or if there will be a staff of people behind him. Producer, go ahead and repeat. Okay, cool. All right, so why don't we do this? Let's go there live right now to the White House. Let's listen in. There might not be a lot going on, but we'll hold that shot there for you as we await the 47th Commander-in-Chief to arrive into that press briefing room. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks so much for streaming with us. This is live, and let's go there right now. I'm watching here with you as we await President Trump. We are hearing about this infrastructure initiative that he will be announcing today at the White House. And then from there, we will be hearing a few questions from the press. So we'll see how long that will last in the White House there. It's 5:10 Eastern time. I was checking out some of the various chats on Rumble and at other sites as well. The person that titled their name here, Donald Trump 2024, he says, "Wow, Matthew, you play that guitar good, son. LOL." So I love the people on here on these chats. It's just wonderful. You guys are all patriots with us, and thanks so much for watching on Right Side Broadcasting Network. That was definitely not me playing the guitar, trust me. I would like to learn how to play, but anyway, great to see that. Great to see all of the camaraderie and all the community on Rumble and even YouTube, and just everybody talking there live right now on the chats. As it is 5:11 Eastern time, looking forward to seeing President Trump here. He'll be coming out of the door there possibly at any minute, and then we will be hearing his infrastructure plan for the country. I believe it's going to be geared toward AI in some ways. We'll see. We'll wait for him to confirm that news as he speaks there, and then to listen to some of the reporters' questions as President Trump possibly, working on something else at this point, obviously, as we are at 5:12 Eastern time. I know a number of you on the chat saying that you're watching live and you'll watch on the replay as well if you miss any of the coverage, but great to have you here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Let's go to one of our sponsors, MTNOps.com. MountainOps.com, a lot of great gear, great supplements, and a great website with this group right here, this company, MTNOps.com. Use that RSBN promo code for 15% off. You can try their bestseller, Ignite. Learn more about what Ignite is by going to MTNOps.com. 5:12 p.m. Eastern time as we await the president there at the White House. Also, looking forward to tomorrow's coverage here at the network with Robert McNeely and myself as we break down just what it was like over the past 5 days of coverage at the White House and at the Capitol building, at the Supreme Court, and various places in Washington, and to discuss the executive orders that President Trump has signed. Again, 42 of them in less than 24 hours. There are more than 200 executive orders to be signed by the president. So as those are signed, and if there are live feeds to that, we will see that happen in real time right here on Right Side. And then from there, not only cover the fact that President Trump is signing the EO, then seeing it out in the country, activated in the country. So again, one is that major national emergency along the southern border. We'll be seeing what that's like over the course of this week, into the weekend and through next week, as well as we monitor America First News right here at the network. And as we bring in various guests and people that are America First, but also, if there was someone that wanted to talk about some other maybe woke ideologies, how does that really mesh in with truth? It's very difficult to do that. So at the end of the day, looking forward to the president arriving here. What we're going to do is we'll go back there to the White House as we await President Trump. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks so much for hanging tight with us. I know a lot of you thought this was starting around 4 o'clock, but the president has a lot of work going on there at the White House when it comes to the executive orders, and also possibly hearing about the situation with the J6ers, as there are 1,500 that are supposed to be set free, but there's a few things happening there that we're hearing here at the network that it's not going very smoothly right now, not for the federal government side. That side's already taken care of. It's the various states and counties trying to work on setting free the J6ers, including over there at the D.C. jail. So President Trump taking care of those executive orders. So many signed within the past 24 hours. I mean, 42 of them. again, more work done by President Trump in the 3 hours yesterday than done possibly. We were saying that more than done over the past 4 years in our country. Well, I believe President Trump did more in 2 hours yesterday than Joe Biden has done in his entire career as a failed politician. So, and on top of that, you can put in some other names there on the left, and some that were Republicans that were Republican in name only. But we see that the swamp's getting drained, and we're looking forward to seeing the president unite this country as much as possible. And it's a difficult task, but it's a task that we are seeing happen here in the nation, as a majority of this country, of course, voting for the president. The popular vote was won. The Electoral College went to President Trump. The 7 swing states. We have the House, the Senate, the conservative edge in the judiciary system, the Supreme Court, and just really looking forward to some great things to cover here at the network. Let's go to Tax Network USA. Tax Network USA, 800-357-1415 for more information on Tax Network USA. If you've missed any of the back taxes or have questions about filing, all you have to do is give them a call, or you can go to tnusa.com/RSBN for more information. So that's a great website right there, a great company, patriotic company, tnusa.com/RSBN. All right, on the left side of your screen right there, you see the podium. Looking forward to seeing President Trump there, as are you, as we take a live look at the beautiful White House at the bottom right of your screen. All live video for you. Also, again, the other story we're following here, though we are not a weather network, the snow happening all across the South right now is pretty wild to see, whether it's Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, and elsewhere. Just seeing the snow just hit the area. And also, Governor DeSantis actually had a press conference earlier. That's Biloxi, Mississippi, from earlier today. The Governor DeSantis having that press conference talking about the incoming snow. Usually, of course, he would be talking about maybe an incoming hurricane or something like that with flooding. But now it's about the snow that's on the way in parts of Florida. So we'll see what transpires over the next 24 to 48 hours. Maybe tomorrow, if there is a lot of snow on the ground here in Alabama, who knows? Maybe Robert McNeely and I could see who would go out into the snow and do a live shot from out there and show you some of that. Who knows? You never know. So we'll see. Our coverage tomorrow again starts at 9 a.m. RSBN Live, as we cover all of the developments that will be happening in the Trump administration, all of the great things that we've seen for our country happening before our eyes, as you see there, awaiting President Trump's first press briefing as the 47th President of the United States. That will be taking place here soon. Definitely looking forward to that. So let's do this. Why don't we go to the White House box as well on the screen there, as we take a live look at the White House, but also maybe if we do have any other live feeds right now, producer, of any other snow throughout the country. I know we saw one in New Orleans as well. So Baton Rouge, New Orleans area there in Louisiana hit pretty hard with snow right now. Again, Mississippi, Alabama, several inches of snow. This is something that maybe those of you in Wisconsin watching right now, or in Kansas or in New Hampshire, might be rolling your eyes saying, why are you talking about snow so much? It's only 2 to 3 inches. Well, 2 to 3 inches of snow in the South is like 7 to 10 to maybe 1.5 feet in the Northeast. It's not fun, but how about not having many? Let's go to President Trump right now. Here he is live in Washington, D.C.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Some very familiar faces. Well, thank you very much, and it's an honor to be here today. We have first full day as president. We're back, and we had a great first term, but we're going to have an even better second term, and I think we're going to do things that people will be shocked at. We're starting off with tremendous investment coming into our country at levels that nobody's really ever seen before. And they're very happy with the fact that I won the race and that they feel confident in their investments. And it's big money and high quality people. So my first day back from having a nice life, it's my honor to welcome 3 of the world's leading technology CEOs. And in the case of Larry Ellison, it's well beyond technology. He's sort of CEO of everything. He's an amazing man and an amazing business person. But to announce the largest AI infrastructure project by far in history, and it's all taking place right here in America. As you know, there's great competition for AI and other things, and they're coming in at the highest level. We're joined by Oracle Executive Chairman Larry Ellison, SoftBank CEO, my friend Masa Yoshi-san, and CEO of OpenAI, and I would say by far the leading expert based on everything I read, Sam Altman. So that's great that you're coming in together. That's a massive group of talent and money. Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did. So I appreciate that, fellas. But it'll ensure the future of technology. What we want to do is we want to keep it in this country. China is a competitor and others are competitors. We want it to be in this country, and we're making it available. I'm going to help a lot through emergency declarations, because we have an emergency. We have to get this stuff built. So they have to produce a lot of electricity, and we'll make it possible for them to get that production done very easily at their own plants if they want, where they'll build at the plant, the AI plant, they'll build energy generation, and that will be incredible. But it's technology and artificial intelligence, all made in the USA. Beginning immediately, Stargate will be building the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of advancements in AI, and this will include the construction of colossal data centers, very, very massive structures. I was in the real estate business. These buildings, these are big, beautiful buildings. They're going to employ a lot of people. And physical campuses in locations currently being scouted nationwide. They're making their choices of locations. I think they have their choice. I'd like to ask Larry, Sam, and Masa to say a few words and just talk about a little bit about what they're doing, and if you have any questions, and then we'll go into a couple of other subjects also. But this is, to me, a very big thing. $500 billion Stargate project. I think it's going to be something that's very special. It'll lead to something that could be the biggest of all. So, Larry, maybe we'll start with you, and we'll go down the line. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We certainly couldn't do this without you. It would simply be impossible. AI holds incredible promise for all of us, for every American. We've actually been working with OpenAI for a while, and with Masa for a while. The data centers are actually under construction. The first of them are under construction in Texas. Each building's 500,000 square feet. There are 10 buildings currently being built, but that will expand to 20, and other locations beyond the Abilene location, which is our first location. The kind of applications that we're building, to give you an idea, maybe the most charismatic and the one that I think touches us all is electronic health records. Not just maintaining electronic health records, but by looking at electronic health records, understanding the condition of doctors better understanding the condition of their patients and being able to provide healthcare plans that are much better than they otherwise would be. A doctor in Indian River Reservation would be able to see how a doctor at Memorial Sloan Kettering would treat the patient, or a doctor at Stanford would treat the patient. We actually provide all of that information, all of that guidance to the doctors who are treating cancer patients or patients with any other kind of disease, made possible by AI. I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'm going to pass it to Masa, but this is a very exciting program for Oracle to be a part of. Thank you.
Thank you. That really helped. That's good. That's great. I feel tall now. Thank you. Well, Mr. President, last month I came to celebrate your winning and promised that we will invest $100 billion. And you told me, oh, Masa, go for 200. Yeah. Now I came back with 500. Because this is the, as you said yesterday, this is the beginning of golden age of America. This is one great example, I think, right? We wouldn't have decided to do this.
I think so.
This is the beginning of golden age. We wouldn't have decided unless you won. And yesterday we agreed, we signed to make this happen. Because of this day. So we would make this happen. We would immediately start deploying $100 billion with a goal of making $500 billion within next 4 years, within your term, right? Because of your success. So we are very, very excited to do this. And our partner is, of course, SoftBank, OpenAI, Oracle, and additionally investing partner with MGX. On top of that, we have the technology partner, NVIDIA, and of course, Microsoft has been very, very supportive to SAM and continue to support all our success. This is not just for business. As Larry said, this will help people's life. This will help solving many, many issues, difficult things that otherwise we could not have solved with the power of AI. I think AGI is coming very, very soon. And after that, that's not the goal. After that, artificial super intelligence will come to solve the issues that mankind would never ever have thought that we could solve. Well, this is the beginning of our golden age. Thank you very much.
I don't have too much to add, but I did want to say I'm thrilled we get to do this in the United States of America. I think this will be the most important project of this era, and as Masa said, for AGI to get built here, to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, to create a new industry centered here. We wouldn't be able to do this without you, Mr. President, and I'm thrilled that we get to. I think it'll be an exciting project. I think we'll be able to do all of the wonderful things that these guys talked about, but the fact that we get to do this in the United States is, I think, wonderful. So thank you very much.
Could you just say one word? I hear so many positive things about what it's going to do for medical research and for solving things, cancer and all the different problems. How will AI help us with the fight against the various problems, diseases, etc.?
These guys can maybe share more about some of the work they're doing there. I think they'll jointly be some of the leaders about driving progress here. But I believe that as this technology progresses, we will see diseases get cured at an unprecedented rate. We will be amazed at how quickly we're curing this cancer and that one and heart disease, and what this will do for the ability to deliver very high quality healthcare, the costs, but really to cure the diseases at a rapid rate, I think will be among the most important things this technology does.
Great. Very good. Thank you.
Can I speak and answer that question, Mr. President? So we're currently working on, should I step on this? Okay. All right. No, no. I'm not that tall. I'm not that tall. I'm not that tall. I'm not tall. Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most exciting things we're working on, using the tools that Sam and Masa are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again using AI, in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
Great, thanks. Yeah, just 1 second. We'll finish up. But these are highly respected guys. I was shocked with Larry because I don't even think Larry does this stuff. You did a very good job for a guy that doesn't do it much, right? But he's so respected, and the group, and it's really an honor. But for Larry to be here and do this is very unusual because he doesn't do this stuff. He doesn't need it. He does, and you don't need it, do you? Huh? You don't need it. But I think it's an honor to the country. It's a great honor that this group, these are the top people, that they're going to do it, and they're going to do it here, and we're going to make it as easy as it can be. A $500 million Stargate project comes in addition to a separate pledge between $100 and $200 billion from, as we know, from Masa that we talked about before. Also $20 billion from DMAC, which was great. And we have many others that are coming. Some I just announce it. It's easier, but with some, I know them, and they're so highly respected, I'd rather do it this way. Many would like to do it this way, but we're letting the world know what's happening. This is money that normally would have gone to China or other countries, but in particular China. In total, before the end of my first full business day in Washington in the White House, we've already secured nearly $3 trillion of new investments in the United States, and probably that's going to be 6 or 7 by the end of the week. Tremendous amounts of money are coming in for many things other than even AI. AI seems to be very hot. It seems to be the thing that a lot of smart people are looking at very strongly. And our country will be prospering like never before. I think that's true, and it's going to be the golden age of America. As I say, yesterday we had the most ambitious, action-oriented day of any administration in history. No, there's never been a first day like yesterday, as you know. I signed a sweeping slate of executive orders to stop the invasion of our borders. I launched a government-wide effort to defeat inflation and bring down the cost of daily life and bring down the cost of energy, magnificently bring it down. And when energy comes down, Larry, I'd say generally speaking, when energy comes down, everything else comes down. The prices of food and the prices of everything else come down. Energy is that's the big baby. And we declared a national energy emergency to drill, baby, drill, our term that we use. We're going to drill, baby, drill like never before. We ended destructive DEI mandates across the federal government and returned our country to a merit-based system and a common sense system. As you know, the Supreme Court gave us a decision on merit, where things in this country can be based on merit now instead of a lot of different rules, regulations, and things that really put our country at a big disadvantage. We permanently stopped government censorship and restored free speech that was signed yesterday. We were renamed the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America. Sounds so beautiful, the Gulf of America, and returned the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley. They took off the name, and he was actually a great president. He was a very, very successful businessman. He ran for governor of Ohio. He won and did a great job as governor, ran for president, and he won. He was assassinated, ultimately, in his second term, unfortunately. But he was the tariff king, and I don't think he was as bad as I am. I think I believe in him even more than him, but he believed in him very strongly. And he raised massive amounts of money. Our country was at its richest from 1870 to 1913. We had the most. That was when we were the richest, relatively speaking. We were the richest during that period of time. That was tariffs from other countries. And our administration's moving with unprecedented urgency and speed to confront every single crisis facing us, and we'll get the job done. And again, I want to thank Sam and Masa and Larry for being here. It's an honor to have them. And we'll take a few questions if you want.
Some of the executive orders, you would agree that it's never acceptable to assault a police officer,
Sure.
right? So then if I can, among those you pardoned, DJ Rodriguez, he drove a stun gun into the neck of a D.C. police officer who was abducted by the mob that day. He later confessed on video to the FBI and pleaded guilty for his crimes. Why does he deserve a pardon?
Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and we're looking at pardons. Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything. But I can say this. Murderers today are not even charged. You have murderers that aren't charged all over. You take a look at what's gone on in Philadelphia. Take a look at what's gone on in L.A., where people murder people and they don't get charged. These people have already served years in prison, and they've served them viciously. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. It's been a terrible, terrible thing. I also say this. You go to Portland, where they wrapped police officers, shot police officers. Nothing happened to anybody. You go to Seattle, where they took over a big chunk of the city and people died. Portland, a lot of people died. Wait a minute. And you go also, take a look at Minneapolis, because I was there and I watched it. And if I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city wouldn't even exist today. People were killed and nobody went to jail. So these people have already served a long period of time, and I made a decision to give a pardon. Joe Biden gave a pardon yesterday to a lot of criminals. These are criminals that he gave a pardon to. And you should be asking that question. Why did he give a pardon to all of these people that committed crimes? Why did he give a pardon to the J6 Unselect Committee when they burned and destroyed all documents which showed that they did what was wrong, not me? Wait a minute. Why did they give a pardon to all of his relatives, his brother who made millions of dollars, to all these different people? He gave pardons. That's the question you should be answering. All right, go ahead. Yeah, please.
If I can just follow up about your meeting. Can I just follow up with that really fast?
No.
I just want to ask
Go
you
ahead.
this. You said
Tell us about your meeting with Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune. Did you reach any conclusion on this one big
Pretty
spending
much. I
bill?
think we have a good situation now. It's been in some ways made simpler by Los Angeles because they're going to need a lot of money. And generally speaking, I think you'll find that a lot of Democrats are going to be asking for help. So I think maybe that makes it more one-sided. I think we're going to do very well. Look, we're going to take care of Los Angeles. I'm going there. I'm going to North Carolina, which has been abandoned by the Democrats. And I'm going to North Carolina, very importantly, first. I'll be there on Friday. And then I'm going from there to Los Angeles. And then I'm going to Nevada. And I'm really going to Nevada to thank them for the vote, because we won Nevada overwhelmingly. And that's usually a Democrat vote. And I just want to go there to thank the people of Nevada for the big vote. So we'll be making that. Yeah, please.
The leaders of the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers were free following their pardons yesterday. At the time, back in 2021, you urged them to stand back and stand by. Is there now a place for them in the political conversation?
Well, we have to see. They've been given a pardon. I thought their sentences were ridiculous and excessive. One of the guys took down a flag that was an anti-American flag and he was given years in jail. I don't know the exact number, but he was given many years in jail. I thought it was very excessive. And at least the cases that we looked at, these were people that actually love our country. So we thought a pardon would be appropriate, yeah.
Mr. President, is it also true in your conversations with Republicans today that you asked them to consider recess appointments for cabinet officials?
I think, yeah, if it's needed. I don't think it's going to be needed. Marco, as you know, got passed overwhelmingly with 99 to nothing, which is pretty amazing. Marco's going to do a great job, Secretary of State, but he just got, I guess he was the first one and just got approved. That's some vote, 99 to nothing, and the nothing was a vote that he would have gotten if we wanted to do it. But you know whose vote that was? Who's doing a great job right now as vice president.
Did you also talk about some sort of a trade or a deal involving wildfire relief in extension for a debt?
Well, what I really want to have done, I was talking about this with the guys back in the Oval Office. Los Angeles has massive amounts of water available to it. All they have to do is turn the valve, and that's the valve coming back from and down from the Pacific Northwest, where millions of gallons of water a week and a day, even in many cases, pours into California, goes all through California down to Los Angeles, and they turned it off. It's off now. The valve goes, it turns toward the Pacific Ocean, and all that water goes pouring into the Pacific Ocean. If they did what I told them to do, they wouldn't do it because politically they didn't think it was good. I think it's great politically. I think they're dead politically. What they've done, they've destroyed the city. What they've done to that city is unbelievable. The sprinklers, their sprinklers in there like these right here that you see, none of them had any water in them. They didn't have any water. The fire hydrants, 40% of them had no water. The brush was just dry. Everything was dry. The sprinklers on the lawn weren't allowed to even be used. So, you know, everything was dry, and it was an inferno. They created an inferno. So we're demanding that they turn the valve back toward Los Angeles right now. It's not even believable that they haven't done it. Just so you know, they have a valve, and it turns like, think of a sink, but multiply it times many thousands of times the size of it. It's massive. And you turn it back toward Los Angeles. Why aren't they doing it? They either have a death wish, they're stupid, or there's something else going on that we don't understand. But we want the water that they're throwing away to be used for California. And that includes the farmers of California. You know, when you drive up north, you see all of the land. I couldn't believe it. I was with Devin Nunes when he was a congressman and some other congressmen from the area, and we're driving up, and we're on the highway, and I keep looking at these farms, and the land is bone dry, and then you'd see an acre, about an acre or 2 acres, with the most beautiful green plants growing in it, the most beautiful you've ever. It's rich stuff, and you look at the soil, and it's so rich. That soil is almost the equivalent to like Iowa soil. It's phenomenal. It's got no water. But the reason it has no water, I said, do you have a drought? No. I said, what do you mean you don't have a drought? Look at the thing. It's dry as a bone. The reason you have like an acre is because they say you can farm 1 acre, but no more, because they didn't want to waste water. But they throw the water into the Pacific Ocean. These people are crazy. So we're going to be issuing an executive order demanding that they immediately let that water come down through California. Farmers, even people living in Beverly Hills. Now, those people have been a lot of them are wiped out. Believe it or not, you know, they were having restrictions, Larry, you know about this. They wanted to restrict you to 38 gallons of water a day. That sounds like a lot, but it's not. When you're a rich person and you like to take a shower, 38 gallons doesn't last very long. And they have all this water, and it's really good water. Up high, Pacific Northwest. Some comes in from Canada. A nice country, by the way, comes in from Canada, and it comes all the way through California, and they're restricting it. You even have the half pipes, you know, the half pipes, the cut pipes, big ones, bigger than this room, and they're going all the way down, and they're bone dry, and they could be loaded up with water. No, but isn't it incredible that they don't do it? and it's to protect the Delta smelt. It's a fish that's doing poorly anyway. But I said, how are you protecting the Delta smelt by not giving it water? It's a fish. It needs water. Nobody can answer that question. Well, let me do this first.
Are you open to Elon buying TikTok?
Say it?
Are you open to Elon buying TikTok?
I would be if he wanted to buy it, yeah.
On your inauguration.
I'd like Larry to buy it too. I have the right to make a deal. So the deal I'm thinking about, Larry, let's negotiate in front of the media. The deal, I think, is this, and I've met with owners of TikTok, the big owners. It's worthless if it doesn't get a permit. It's not like, oh, you can take the U.S. The whole thing is worthless. With a permit, it's worth like $1 trillion. So what I'm thinking about saying to somebody is buy it and give half to the United States of America, half, and we'll give you the permit. And they'll have a great partner, the United States. And they'll have something that's actually more valuable because they have the ultimate partner, and the United States will make it very worthwhile for them in terms of the permits and everything else. But so think of it, you have an asset that has no value or has $1 trillion value. It all depends on whether or not the United States gives the permit. So what I'm saying is let the United States give the permit, and the United States should get half. Sounds reasonable. What do you think?
Sounds like a good deal to me, Mr. President.
Yeah, he can afford it too.
Mr. President, you're a president who has long said that you back the blue, but aren't you sending the message that assaulting officers is okay with these pardons?
No, the opposite. In fact, I'm going to be letting 2 officers from Washington Police, D.C. I believe they're from D.C., but I just approved it. They were arrested, put in jail for 5 years because they went after an illegal, and I guess something happened where something went wrong. And they arrested the 2 officers and put them in jail for going after a criminal, a rough criminal, by the way. And I'm actually releasing. No, I am the friend of police, more than any president that's ever been in this office.
More than 400 of the people that you pardoned, though, assaulted officers. So I want to ask you about the Vice President, J.D. Vance. He said, this is a week ago, he said, if you committed violence on January 6th, obviously you should not be pardoned. Why is your vice president wrong?
Well, only for one reason. They've served years in jail. They should not have served, and they've served years in jail, and murderers don't even go to jail in this country. And we had 1,500. We have 16 under review. As you know, we commuted about 16 of them because it looks like they could have done things that were not acceptable for a full pardon. But these people have served years of jail, and their lives have been ruined. And in many cases, listen to me for a second. Stop interrupting. They've served years in jail, and if you look at the American public is tired of it. Take a look at the election. Just look at the numbers on the election. We won this election in a landslide because the American public is tired of people like you that are just one-sided, horrible people in terms of crime. You don't talk about all the people that have been killed and what happens to those murderers. Murderers get no time. You take a look at some of these DAs. They go after political opponents, but they don't go after people that shoot people in the street. They're caught. They know where they're living. They know everything. They don't even go up to pick them up anymore. They just let them live there. They know all about it. They have their pictures. They have the tape of the shooting, and they don't even go up and you're talking about this. No, we pardoned people that were treated unbelievably poorly. In the history of our country, there's never been anything take place like this. They're still looking for them. Everybody. We are, though, and we're getting them out of the country. We just started that. We're getting them out of the country, and they're going to be gotten out of the country fast. They came in illegally from jails and from prisons. They killed many people. Some of them killed many people. About 50% of them killed more than one person. They were released into our country. That's what we're focused on, not the kind of nonsense you're talking about.
You've called for a ceasefire in Ukraine. If Vladimir Putin doesn't come to the table to negotiate with you, will you put additional sanctions on Russia?
Sounds likely.
And do you think that the war should be frozen currently along
The
with
war
the
should have never
lines?
started. If you had a competent president, which you didn't, the war wouldn't have happened. The war in Ukraine would have never happened if I were president. But that couldn't happen because the election was rigged. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. President, there's been some debate within your orbit over whether or not to keep or eliminate H-1B visas. What's your position on that? Do you want to keep H-1Bs or do you want to get rid of them?
I like both sides of the argument, but I also like very competent people coming into our country, even if that involves them training and helping other people that may not have the qualifications they do. But I don't want to stop. And I'm not just talking about engineers. I'm talking about people at all levels. We want competent people coming into our country. And HB1, I know the program very well. I use the program. Maitre d's, wine, experts, even waiters, high quality waiters. You got to get the best people. Now, then you go into people like Larry, and he needs engineers, and Massa needs, and this gentleman needs engineers like nobody's ever needed engineers, right? So we have to have the quality people coming in. Now, by doing that, we're expanding businesses, and that takes care of everybody. So I'm sort of on both sides of the argument, but what I really do feel is that we have to let really competent people, great people come into our country, and we do that through the H-1 program.
Mr. President, are you looking to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico in an effort to force negotiations sooner on USMCA?
No, it's really not on USMCA. It has nothing to do with that. They've allowed, both of them, Canada very much so, they've allowed millions and millions of people to come into our country that shouldn't be here. They could have stopped them, and they didn't. And they've killed 300,000 people last year, my opinion, have been destroyed by drugs, by fentanyl. The fentanyl coming through Canada is massive. The fentanyl coming through Mexico is massive. And people are getting killed, and families are being destroyed. I mean, the son gets killed, and the family is a basket case for the rest of their lives. I mean, I've seen mothers that thought they'd heal. They never heal. They say it gets worse with time. It gets worse with time. They lose their boy. They lose their baby. They lose their young daughter to fentanyl poisoning. And I had that talk with President Xi the other day, too, of China. I said, we don't want that crap in our country. We got to stop it. I would have stopped it. I had a deal with him where he was going to give the maximum penalty, which in China is the death penalty for drug dealing. And he was all set. He was going to give the maximum penalty to fentanyl dealers. If they send to the United States, they were going to get the death penalty. And, of course, Biden didn't pick that up. I had that deal all done. It was all wrapped up. We were going to have it done. And then the election went, let's put it nicely, it didn't go the proper way. I'm trying to be nice about it. It was rigged. And we had an incompetent president elected, and he never followed up on that deal. But he should have followed up, because if they got the death penalty, they wouldn't be sending fentanyl to Mexico, Canada, and other places.
Mr. President, how much will the
We're thinking about that too. We're talking about a tariff of 10% on China based on the fact that they're sending fentanyl to Mexico and Canada.
How soon on those tariffs?
Probably February 1st is the date we're looking at. For Mexico and China, we're talking about approximately 25%.
Update on the Gaza ceasefire, and are you planning to travel to the Middle East soon?
We're thinking about going to the Middle East, not yet. We have a thing called the hostages are coming back going on right now, and they are coming back. Some of them have been very damaged. You look at the young lady with her hand practically blown off. You know how that happened, right? Did you know how that happened? When you find out, you're not going to be too happy because it was terrible. But the hostages are starting to come back. If I weren't here, they wouldn't be back ever. They would have never come back. They would have all died. If this were done a year earlier, if Biden would have done this deal a year and a half, 2 years ago, or frankly, it should have never happened. October 7th should have never happened. Nobody should be dead. But through weakness, they allowed it to happen, and then it was a disaster from them. But you go back just 6 months ago, many of these young people were living. Young people don't die like that. They're just dying. And young people aren't dying at 22 and 23 years old. They don't die. But now they're dying, and you wonder why they're dying. They're being killed, and they have been killed but they say 6 months ago you would have had 11 more living hostages. Think of that. 6 months ago. But Biden couldn't get it done, and it was only the imposition that I put on as a deadline that got it done. But it's a very sad situation. It should have never happened. I'll tell you, 2 things should have never happened. 3 things. Inflation should have never happened. It would have never happened except for what they did to energy and their crazy spending. And Ukraine would have never happened. Never. By the way, Russia never would have gone into Ukraine. I had a very strong understanding with Putin that it would have never, ever happened. He disrespected Biden. Very simple. He disrespects people. He's smart. He understands. He disrespected Biden. And also, the Middle East would have never happened because Iran was broke. They had no money. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. It would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened. But it did happen. So this is the cards I've been given. And we're getting the hostages back. That would have never happened under Biden. They would have never come back. They were just dying not that slowly. They were dying or being killed. But that was what was happening.
Are you going to keep sending weapons to Ukraine, or are you going to turn off the tap soon?
Well, we're looking at that. We're talking to Zelensky. We're going to be talking with President Putin very soon. And we'll see how it all happens. We're going to look at it very soon. One thing I do feel, the European Union should be paying a lot more than they're paying because under Biden, I mean, we're in there for $200 billion more. Now, it affects them more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between, right? Little thing called an ocean. The European Union should equalize. We're in there for $200 billion more than the European Union. I mean, what are we, stupid? I guess the answer is yes, because they must think so. But the European Union takes advantage of us tremendously on trade, and they now take advantage of, and always have. If I didn't get involved years ago, my first term, one of the first things I noticed was that they're not paying enough. They're not paying, and a lot of those countries weren't even paying. The NATO countries, they weren't paying. Only 7 out of 28 were paying. We were one of them, and Poland was one, and they had a few of them that were paying, and some were paying very proudly. Usually, the closer to the borderline of Russia they were, the faster they paid, okay? The ones that were further away tended not to pay so fast. And one thing on that, I think they should lift their number not to 2%, but to 5%. NATO should be at 5%, not at 2%. 2% is ridiculous, yeah.
The U.S. President Xi, in your conversation about Ukraine, you asked him to get involved in helping settle that. Can you tell us about that?
I did, yeah. I said, you ought to get it settled because he's not done very much on that. He's got a lot of power, like we have a lot of power. I said, you ought to get it settled. We did discuss it, yeah.
Do you intend to continue selling products that benefit yourself personally while you're president?
Well, I don't know if it benefited. I don't know where it is. I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful. I haven't checked it. Where is it today?
You made a lot of money, sir.
How much?
Several $1 billion, it seems like, in the last several days.
Several billion? That's peanuts for these guys.
President Biden, can you give us some sense, broadly speaking?
Yeah, he wrote me a nice letter. I mean, I did open it last night. And I didn't know. Peter said, did you get the letter? I said, wait a minute, let's see the letter. It's sort of a tradition. You put it in the drawer, especially of the beautiful Resolute desk, right? And I opened it, and there it was. It said to number 47. And it was a very nice letter. I mean, I could show it because I think it was a nice letter. Maybe I will. I think just basically it was a little bit of an inspirational type letter, you know. Enjoy it. Do a good job. Important, very important, how important the job is. But I think it was a nice letter. I think I should let people see it because it was a positive for him in writing it. I appreciated the letter.
Mr. President, were security concerns at all a factor when deciding to move your inauguration indoors?
No, not at all. No, not at all. It was just cold. Look, if we would have, you know, I just went out to the helicopter, right, we said goodbye. That's a tradition. As long as before it used to be a stagecoach, and then helicopters came along. But that's been a tradition. You go out and you do that. And we stood there for 10 minutes, and I'll tell you what, people would not have been able to get through that day. That was cold. It was sort of interesting. Don't let the sun fool you. Tell me something. Sunny days can get very cold, can't they? Because that was so freezing yesterday. You couldn't have gotten through it. It would have been. And the answer is no, it wasn't security. With that being said, I thought the Capitol, the Rotunda, was beautiful. 72 degrees, unbelievable sound. You know, it's like being in an opera house. I could see people wanting to do it there rather than outside.
Why did you remove John Bolton's security clearance, sir?
Because I think there was enough time. It's we take a job. You take a job. You want to do a job. We're not going to have security on people for the rest of their lives. Why should we? I thought he was a very dumb person, but I used him well because every time people saw me come into a meeting with John Bolton standing behind me, they thought that he'd attack them because he was a warmonger. He's the one that got us involved, along with Cheney and a couple of others, convinced Bush, which was a terrible decision, to blow up the Middle East. You know, we blew up the Middle East and we left. We got nothing out of it except a lot of death. We killed a lot of people, and John Bolton was, one of those guys, a stupid guy. But no, you can't have that for life. You shouldn't expect it for life.
With President Zelensky, will that take place here, and when and where will you meet with
I don't know. I mean, look, President Zelensky would like to have peace. He's told me that very strongly. He'd like to have peace, but it takes two to tango. We'll see what happens.
When will you meet with President Putin?
Anytime they want, I'll meet. I'd like to see that end. Millions of people are being killed, and they're being killed. It's a vicious situation, and they're now largely soldiers. A lot of people have been killed in the cities. They look like demolition sites. Buildings, massive buildings bombed and coming down. The thing with Ukraine is that many more people died than you're reporting. You're not reporting the real numbers, and I'm not blaming you for that. I'm blaming maybe our government for not wanting to release those numbers. Many more people died than what you know about. When those big buildings come down and they say 2 people were injured, no. Many people, thousands of people are being killed. But the real killing now is on the war front. It's a very flat land. And the only thing that stops a bullet is somebody's body. And you have young soldiers. So Russia's lost about 800,000 soldiers now. Ukraine's lost about 600 or 700,000. I think the numbers are low that they're giving out. But they've lost massive numbers of young soldiers. And that war should stop. It's very flat, it's beautiful farmland, and it's flat and really beautiful in a different kind of a way, but they don't have any protection. The only thing that stops a bullet is a body, and those bodies are stopping a lot of bullets, and they're being decimated, both sides.
In your conversation with President Xi, what did you tell him in terms of when to expect tariffs, and what can he do to avoid them?
About which one? About tariffs? We didn't talk too much about tariffs other than he knows where I stand. Look, I put large tariffs on China. I've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. Until I was president, China never paid not 10 cents to the United States. With me, they paid hundreds of $600 billion or so, or more than that even, of tariffs. And if I didn't do that, you wouldn't have a steel mill open in the United States right now. You wouldn't have one steel mill open in the United States. So what I did is I saved the steel industry. I saved other industries, too, with other tariffs. Other countries are big abusers also. It's not just China. China's an abuser, but the European Union is very, very bad to us. They treat us very, very badly. They don't take our cars. They don't take our cars at all. They don't take our farm products, essentially. They don't take very much. We have a $350 billion deficit with the European Union. They treat us very, very badly. So they're going to be in for tariffs. It's the only way you're going to get back. It's the only way you're going to get fairness. You can't get fairness unless you do that. But the European Union's treated us very badly. But essentially everybody treats us badly. Everybody treats us badly. Yes, go ahead. Because we allow them to. Because we've had stupid people doing this, and we can't have. I'd like to have these 3 people negotiate for us. just for 1 week, and would be a rich country again, but we'll be rich.
Mr. President, on AI data centers, will you rescind President Biden's executive order that opens up federal land?
On which centers?
On data centers. Will you rescind President Biden's executive order that opens up federal lands for data centers and energy production?
No, I wouldn't do that. That sounds to me like it's something that I would like. I'd like to see federal lands opened up for data centers. I think they're going to be very important. Again, we have a lot of competition for that. So it's an honor to have these three great people, great CEOs and great geniuses, all three. It's an honor that they want to come to our country, but we're going to make it as easy as we can for them because other countries want them to. I'm going to have to go now. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Do you have TikTok on your phone?
No, but I think I might put it there. I think I'll get it right now. By the way, again, we won the young vote. I think I won it through TikTok. So I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
News coming out of this press conference at the White House today. President Trump starting that press conference at about 5:21 Eastern time. A number of news items. You saw a lot of the fake news there trying to talk about the J6 pardons a bit there. The president also announcing that he will be going to Western North Carolina on Friday to visit the people there after this hurricane, of course, Helene months ago caused extensive damage. So President Trump will be there, landing in Air Force One, then flying to the West Coast, to Los Angeles, to bring any assistance needed for the people of Los Angeles for the wildfire situation there that has been awful as well. He will also make a stop in the Silver State in Nevada to thank supporters on the way back from LA. There was no specifics as to when the president will be in LA and Nevada, but we do know on Friday he's going to North Carolina. So will he be in LA that night, the next day? We'll have to monitor that here at the network to see specifically where he'll be and when he'll be at various locations. We also saw various reactions in real time on the chat for a number of stories and topics discussed today, including the announcement originally why this whole press conference